Hello everyone and welcome to game 3 of the finals of the FTX Crypto Cup between Wesley and Magnus Carlsen. After winning in game 1, Magnus kind of forced a quick draw where he had the white pieces in game 2, and now again we have game 3, Wesley with the white pieces. So can Wesley mix something up or will Magnus again come on top with the black pieces? So as Magnus already won one game, if he wins this one, then he is the winner of day 1 and Wesley will have to look for his chances on day 2. But that's a bit easier said than done, so let's see what happens in this game as Wesley again has the white pieces. So here Wesley again opens with e4, and we are going to have the exact same line up until the point where, not at this point, up until the point c3. The Giuoco Piano, the main line, like we had in game 1, knight to f6, d4, captures, and e5. So going for the same gambit as in game 1, we have d5, bishop to b5, and now knight to e4. So everything is exactly the same. Captures the bishop. We said that bishop b4 is possible. Bishop to b6 is considered a little bit better. Knight to c3, and now castles. We have bishop to e3, and now bishop to g4. And here is where the game deviates from game 1 that Magnus won. So in that game, Wesley tried queen to c2, and then we had that bishop to f5, queen to b3 maneuver. But here, Wesley goes for the h3 move, which is the main move in this position, and it has many games in the database. So bishop to h5, and now queen to c2 is the main move. Rook to c1, a bit less played, but still unknown move. So rook to c1, and now there are some games where knight to e7 and king to h8 were played, but here Magnus goes for bishop to a5 now. So again, kind of maybe wasting a tempo, pins this knight here and threatens to maybe play knight captures on c3, and this is already a new move. So already as of move 12 we have a completely new game. So here Wesley just castles. He says, all right, you're more than welcome to capture this knight here. Okay, you can't really win a pawn, but you can mess up maybe white's pawn structure. Not really mess up, you will play b captures on c3 here, but maybe leave white with an isolated a pawn. So here bishop captures on c3 was played. This was Carlsen's plan. B captures, and then now knight to a5, unpinning, and now preparing the c6 move. We have g4 by Wesley, bishop to g6, and now knight to e1. And this is now what Wesley came up with after Magnus tried this idea with bishop to a5, because now f3 is coming and you don't really have a good reply with your knight. For example, if you play a weird move, let's say you play something like b6, f3 is coming, and what do you do with the knight? Okay, you could come to g5 maybe, but if knight to g5, then we play h4. And again, what do you play with your knight? If you play knight to e6, then we play h5 and we trap the bishop. So you can save the knight, but then you're going to lose the bishop. So instead, after knight to e1, Magnus goes for a counterattack. He plays f6. Again, he had a good time playing f6 in game 1, so maybe it works in game 3 as well. Wesley now goes f3 as planned, attacking the knight, and now c6. First, Magnus says, all right, I would very gladly give up this knight for this bishop, but bishop to d3, this was this could have been played maybe instead of f3, so the move was bound to play either way. Knight to g5 now. And here comes bishop captures on g6, h captures, and the bishop captures on g5. So giving up both of the bishops for tripling of Carlsen's pawn structure. Here you have triple g pawns, and it's very rare to see something like this. So here we have queen to d3. Wesley goes after the g6 pawn, and Magnus doesn't even try to defend it. He just wants to activate his pieces. He says, and it's very often that when you have tripled or even doubled pawns, that allowing your opponent to maybe take one as a means of gaining further development isn't a terrible way to go. So here knight to c4 by Magnus, and Wesley just picks up the pawn on g6. So queen captures on g6, and now queen to e7. So what do you play here? We have rook to f2 by Wesley. Now Wesley is saying that he wants to shift the knight to g2, bring this rook over to f1, and then start expanding with f4, and then depending on what Magnus plays, maybe even further. We have c5 by Magnus, now challenging the central structure here, and now knight to g2. We have rook 8 to c8. Magnus says this either works or it doesn't. If your attack has any merit to it, then okay, you will win, but if not, then I'm going to have a very good game. So here we have rook c to f1, we have captures on d4, captures on d4, and now rook to c6, attacking the queen here. Queen goes back to d3. So now the queen has retreated, and now you are again ready to start pushing your pawns. And here, Magnus goes rook to a6. He wants to go rook to a3. The knight nicely defends this to attack the queen and put more pressure on the white's king's position. But here, after instead of this rook to a6 move, you kind of had this queen to a3, which maybe makes it a bit hard for white to play. And maybe you would be able to survive, for example, if the queens get traded off, but that's for another game. So here, after queen to d3, like I said, rook to a6 was played, but now Wesley continues with his plan and pushes f4. So what do you play here? Obviously, you can capture here, but Magnus decides against this. He tries first rook to a3 with an attack on the queen. Maybe you can capture later on. Queen to g6, and now you could capture, but again, if you capture on f4, then, for example, rook captures, and knight captures, and this is just really, really bad for black. You have a passed pawn here that's already on e5. You have a knight and a queen here in front of the black king, and not much to be done here. If you try something, let's say you move the knight, then rook to c1, just you know, gets the rook to a beautiful open c file here, and the d5 pawn is under attack. I mean, white can just choose any move that white wants to play here. There really isn't a good move you can play here. Knight also just immediately going for that d5 pawn. It's a hopeless position for black. So instead, after this queen to g6, we have rook captures on h3 by Magnus. And now, can he do something along this h file maybe? Well, Wesley says, I don't care. I'm just going to continue pushing my pawns. He plays f5. King to h8, and now f6. Magnus was expecting this, so he wants to play captures, and then queen to h7, which means that after this is played, and it has been played, Magnus does play queen to h7, and now offers a queen trade, but also threatens checkmate. This is what he was going for, but this unfortunately doesn't work. So feel free to pause the video here and tie the match, or rather win the game for Wesley while I give you a couple of seconds. Melo really snoring back there, if you can hear him. So for those of you who were able to do it, congratulations on spotting that the winning move is to just trade the queens. And for those of you who just want to enjoy the show, it's queen to g7 with check. And it was in this position on move 33 that Magnus Carlsen resigned the game, and Wesley has bounced back and is now back into the match. So I can't remember if the previous, if the game that Magnus won was also 33 moves, maybe 32 moves. Yeah, it was 33 moves, very interesting. And also now Wesley hits back with a 33 move win with the white pieces. So really, really awesome stuff. So that ties the match. There's still game 4 where Magnus will have the white pieces, so he's gonna have to try something else, and you know, he will not be able to just play for a quick draw with white. But we'll see what happens, or if this will shake him up. As now Wesley, you know, it's never pleasant when your opponent bounces back. But at least you know, he bounced back, and now you have the white pieces. It's really bad where your opponent bounces back and then you have the black pieces in the final game. But yeah, that's the game. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I would like to thank Riki Shikilapi Gucci, Suresh Kota, Mario Balukcic, Aditya Kiran Komanduri, and Dan De Jong for your contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot. I really appreciate it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you for watching, and I will see you soon, continuing the coverage of this very nice tournament, checking up on your wonderful suggestions, and whatever else happens in the chess world. So thank you all. I will see you soon, and have an excellent rest of your day.